couple of months ago, Motone Customs sent out some beautiful parts for my Triumph Street Twin, including a fuel cap, shifter peg, oil filler cap, and some shock dress-up bolts. And lucky for me, they've sent out some more lovely parts which I'll be fitting today. First up, we've got the Shorty mudguard that arrived in the last video, but I've recently fitted it and I wanted to show you a comparison of this part versus the original factory fitted mudguard and a cheap one I bought on Alibaba. As you can see, the Motone part is somewhere in between the two in terms of length. It definitely gives a more custom look than the original mudguard, but it's a touch shorter than the really cheap one. But there are three main areas where the Motone piece excels. One being the materials. Both the stock and cheap mudguard are plastic, whereas the Motone one is rolled from aluminium. Next up, the finish. The original mudguard finish is obviously fine, but the cheap one was terrible. It was lumpy and dimpled and it chipped really easily. But the Motone one is brushed and anodized in matte black and it looks awesome on the bike. And lastly, the fit. I had to drill out the cheap mudguard as it didn't quite fit, and obviously that's damaged the poor finish as you can see. But the Motone one obviously fits first time perfectly, and it'll fit a bunch of the liquid cooled Triumphs, so the Street Twin, Street Cup, Street Scrambler, T100 and T120. So all in all, I guess you get what you pay for. I just really like how this looks on the front end and how the matte anodized finish marries up with the matte finish on the motor. Anyway, on to the new parts. I'm not normally a big fan of Union Jack parts, but this radiator guard that Motone have sent out to me is really subtle and it looks really high quality, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks on the bike. I'm also really excited about these awesome ACG and clutch badges that they've sent to me because I've been wanting to swap out those cheap stock plastic ones for some time. I believe the rib design is inspired by Webco parts from the 60s and 70s, and I just love this contrast finish that they've produced here. So first up, we'll fit the radiator guard by removing the factory fitted one, which is held in place by a couple of Allen bolts. You then need to attach the mounting brackets to the new guard with just a few screws at each end, and then you just swap it onto the original bolts and holes. I use a little bit of thread locker on the bolts to make sure they don't vibrate out. The badges are similarly easy to fit. You just remove the old bolts and then replace with the new badge using a bit of thread locker. Obviously the engine vibrates quite a lot, so you wouldn't want to lose these lovely badges out on the road somewhere. And of course, you just repeat on the other side. I really love how subtle the radiator guard looks because it's just black on black, and it's also a real step up in quality from the factory radiator guard, which feels a little bit flimsy compared to this much more sturdy and substantial one. That might be of some benefit in protecting your radiator, especially if you've fitted the Shorty mudguard, which might allow a little bit more debris to fling up to the radiator. The badges are a real touch of class on each side of the bike, and I just love how that contrast finish echoes the fins on the cylinder head. I'll link to all the Motone parts I've used in the description, but let me know what you guys think and if you've got any questions in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video.